It's time for the soap of the month, and for the month of April, we are making a spring colored soap using natural colorants and poppy seeds for exfoliation. So come along. Hey friends, it's Barbara Sue at Kowalski Mountain, and welcome back to the homestead. Now today I am going to be making a natural colored soap using annatto seed. Now the olive oil was infused with the colorant using these natural annatto seeds, and you can see that video right up here. Now today it's time to make the soap, and because of the way I did the oil, I infused all of the oil for the recipe, realizing only later that I only wanted to do half of it in this color. Now I'm aiming for a pretty yellow color, but it could go anywhere from a light yellow to orange, so we're gonna find out. Basically today I'm going to be making two soaps. I'm going to be making a white colored soap and a yellow colored soap, and we're going to mix them up together in the mold and hopefully have a nice medley of color. Fingers crossed. The best thing about the soap of the month is I'm trying new techniques to broaden my soap making skills. So I can't wait to see how this comes out. Now I've already measured all of the other oils, and I'm just going to add my infused olive oil to the mix. So 228 grams. So here it is, and you can see the difference in the two oil colors from the infused oil to the regular olive oil. There's a couple different ways I could have done this oil. I infused all of the olive oil for the recipe. I could have just infused a small amount and added it as a colorant later. That would have been easier had I remembered I wanted to mix colors today. But basically I'm going to be making two batches of soap, and I'm going to mix them together in a single mold. So because of that, I'm kind of short on bowls today. I'm going to be juggling to make this work. So each batch is going to need 166 grams of goat's milk. And when you're working with milk, you need to freeze it because milk is susceptible to burning when you make soap. Oh gosh, I couldn't have planned that if I wanted. So there's one batch. Now it's windy today, which makes the table move, which really messes up the scale. Now I'm ready to measure the sodium hydroxide, also known as lye. Now lye is a caustic chemical, and it can cause severe burns. So whenever we're making soap, we always use proper safety equipment. I wear goggles and gloves. You'll also notice that I have on long sleeves, which I would do even in the summer. I have on long pants and shoes, and that way, should I get a spill or any problems like that, my skin is protected. So for each of these batches of soap, I need 81.5 grams of lye. All right, one batch. Now let's do the next one. Now I buy my lye in bulk because it's a better price, and I enjoy soap making enough that it was worth the expense for me to do that. Now the shipping was high on this, but even still it was a better price than I could buy it in smaller quantities. Now the last thing I need to do before I get started is I need to split my solid oils. I melted them together, and I'm just going to split it into two batches. Now it is a cool day, so I do have my oils sitting in hot water in hopes to keep them warm enough while we get this done. Today it's about 60 degrees out here. Now they're right at about 80 degrees, which is perfect, but I may have to heat them up because you only want to be about 10 to 15 degrees difference in the temperature of your lye solution and your oils. And I'm a little nervous that's not going to happen. So let's get this stuff mixed in. Now when we're working milk, we do small batches of lye at a time and we mix that in. And you'll notice that it's starting to create a chemical reaction and the ice cubes are starting to melt. Now lye can heat up extremely hot, up to about 200 degrees during this chemical reaction. Now I do have an ice bath on standby should I need it if everything starts to get too hot. Now we also had a lot of rain last night. We actually were under tornado watch, which is a little scary living in an RV. But that's why my lye is kind of moist. Now the milk cubes are almost melted. And with milk, the one thing about that is you can't see the lye in the mixture. So we need to look for signs. We need to look for lye on the side of the bowl. We need to look for lye on the spatula. And then we need to stir just a little bit longer than we think we need to. Now while we definitely need to be careful with lye, it can be really intimidating about soap making and it can make you fearful to start. But I found as long as you follow the safety precautions and you take your time, I haven't had any issues with lye. And it's really not that scary after all. Now I have to say I have never done this technique before where I'm going to be working with two soap batters. So there is a balance between it not coming to trace too quickly so that I can create the effect I want. So fingers crossed. Hopefully the cool air will kind of help me. I feel like it did last time. If you watch the March Soap of the Month Club, I feel like that really helped me because I made several mistakes in that and it really saved me that it was cool outside. All right, so I'm going to set this aside. I want to check the temperature and hopefully I won't have to cool it down a little bit. Now let's go ahead and do this next one. Now one reason we want to make sure that all the lye is dissolved is because if any particles of lye are left in the soap, it can actually burn your skin. So we want to be sure that our soap is safe. Once the dissolved lye in the lye base is saponified with the oils, there's no longer any lye in the soap. It's just those undissolved particles that can be a problem, which is why we want to be careful to ensure that all of our lye is completely dissolved. 90 and 79. This is perfect. Now, as I said, I've never made two batches of soap like this before, so I'm kind of having to juggle to make this work. When you add the oil and the lye together, you always add the lye to the oils. Well, I'm concerned that this container is not big enough to mix the soap. So I'm going to kind of juggle it. I'm going to add the lye base to the oil. But then I'm going to put it back in the big bowl. And that's just me doing the best I can with what I've got. All right, so let's go ahead and start the saponification process. Now this is where the magic of soap making takes place, through saponification. When the oils and the lye become one, a new chemical, which is soap, now because I have so much going on today, I'm going to take this to a light trace. Now trace has to do with the thickness of the soap, and I usually aim for a medium trace, which is more like pudding. But today I'm going to do a light trace, which is more like a cake batter, which I feel like we're really close to that now, but it happened so quickly. Now you can have what's called false trace, where it looks like it's traced, but it didn't. And I'm a little nervous about that. I've never actually seen it, so I'm not sure what it would look like. Now I like to make natural soap, so I don't add any special substances to be a whitener. You can whiten up your batch a little bit with an additive. I forget what it's called. But my goal is to make natural soap as natural as I possibly can. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Now we're going to do the same with the annatto seed infused oils. My temperatures are absolutely perfect. I'm so happy with this. Now, seeing the color of my natural soap, I'm kind of hoping this has a little bit more orange in it, or it might be hard to tell the difference. Now I can move my stick blender from light to dark, but never the opposite. All right, let's get going. All right, we're going to stop there. And from here on out, all of my mixing is going to be with the spatulas, because I don't want to speed up trace too much. So first, I'm going to pour my soap batter into these containers so that I can pour the soap. Now I'm adding it to this container first because essential oils can accelerate trace, and today we are using vanilla, which can do so even more. So I want to be a little bit proactive in hopes that doesn't happen. Now the one thing about using natural colorants, like essential oils, they don't anchor as well. So we may see some fading of this color as time goes on. And really that's just a personal preference. I'm trying to make my soap as natural as I can. We're going to set this one aside. Now in my light colored batter, I'm going to add my poppy seeds. And I added about a tablespoon of poppy seeds to this. And I'm going to also add half of my colorant. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix up that kaolin clay. And let's hope for the best that this does not accelerate trace. I'm so glad I didn't try to do the saponification process in this container. It would have been way too full. Now I can feel this tracing up. Come on. Oh no. Got to do this one quickly. I am happy with this color. I hope it holds up to a really beautiful color. And the differences look really pretty together, at least right now. All right, let's get this in the mold. So I am going to do a back and forth. Oh man, this is... I really wanted this to be more liquidy than it is. Coming to trace much too fast. Well, I'm definitely not going to get the effect I wanted. Now I always use my extra. I don't let any of my soap go to waste. These little round ones I'll use. I think I'm going to do just a little bit of swirling in here. Oh, no, I'm not, because that's too thick. Okay, won't do that. Now, one of the hardest things for me is to shape the soap top. Now, some people make it look so simple. It is not simple to me. Now, because this soap is a little thicker, it's kind of holding its shape. Maybe I like that better. All right, here it is. Hopefully I don't have big air pockets inside. I'm worried about that. Only because it came to trace so quickly. And possibly if I had not used vanilla, that might have been in my favor. I have no way to know. But here it is. Now once this finishes setting up, we'll come back together and cut the bars together. All right, friends, it has been a few days since I made my April soap of the month. So let's go ahead and get it out of the mold and see how it looks. It definitely has a pale yellow, which is what I wanted. I'm wondering if that was wise. We'll find out. Now, one thing I did with this soap was I allowed my soap to go through gel phase. Usually I put my goat's milk soap into the freezer to prevent gel phase. And I was so scared to let it go through gel phase. It looks like Velveeta. I was so scared to let it go through gel phase because I didn't want it to get burnt. And I went online and I researched whether or not goat's milk soap should go through gel phase, and there's no good guidance. People say yes, people say no, and it's hard to know what's right. So I went for it, and it looks fine. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to let it go through gel phase was to let the colors be a little bit more vibrant. Alright, so let's look at this soap. I do have that nice pale yellow. I'm happy with that. It actually looks good so far. This does seem a little sticky today. The scent is very nice. Now, one reason I used this mold is because it came with this cutter. So you can see how even though I did kind of a fancy top on it, it fits in the cutter, which was the problem I was having with my other mold. It's too tall for this cutter. Now let's just do a straight cut this time. Okay, here we go. Okay. I definitely like the poppy seeds in it. I like the little burst of color that they give to it. Gives it a little bit of texture. Getting a little bit more yellow. Overall, I'm not seeing any holes in the middle. Like there's a hole here on the end, but not in the middle. I have a little weird discoloration right here. I don't know what that is. It's only on that one bar. It definitely looks like Velveeta in there, which I'm pretty sure I read that cheese is actually also colored with annatto oil, so not surprising. Now this end has a lot of yellow, not the best one. Now if I have any soap batter left, I always put it into the rounds because I don't want to waste anything. And it was really thickening, so it was very hard to get in here. I'll use this. I won't send these to anybody. Well, overall, I am happy with this soap. It didn't come out completely like I wanted, mostly because it went to trace too quickly and I couldn't pour it the way I wanted to. But at least it looks good. It looks decent. There's not a bunch of holes in it, which I'm very relieved about that. My top did come out nicely. I have some nice texture on that, so that's kind of nice. I love the poppy seeds. Now, my husband does not like additives in soap. He doesn't like exfoliating soap, but I do. So I definitely like this. Now the next soap of the month is ready to be mailed, and these are going to be hitting the post office on Monday, and I hope that my soap of the month members are enjoying their beautiful soap. Well friends, as always, we really appreciate you watching, especially to the very end. Thank you so much for sticking with me all the way. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit that button. We'd love you to be a part of the Kowalski Mountain family. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.